I've got a new Subaru, mate.
Yeah.
Bloody nice, I tell you.
What is it?
Subaru Outback sports model. Tows a boat, drives over grass, over sand, over rocks, over anything you want.
Over curbs.
Over curbs. Don't say that because boys are here listening to what you're saying, mate. And so today we've got Magic Mike from Ultimate Charters here along to chat with us. We're going to talk about how the fishing is in the hauraki Gulf at the moment, like the seasonal change into winter. And then we'll talk about some lures that's working out in the deep. And then at the end we'll have a few questions. How does that sound? Good, Mikey?
Sounds wicked, mate. Wicked.
You guys
Absolutely
can hear
wicked.
us. I'm not going to say that. Can you guys hear us and all that stuff anymore? But if Magic Mike, nice to see you. G'day, Becky and Michael Peters. Always great fans of
great
lots of
supporters.
people, great supporters.
How's it going,
And
guys?
yeah, so you've been. How's this weather's been? I get holding you back a bit, mate, lately.
Yeah, she's been pretty tough on the weather recently, or past year, a couple of years really, but getting small little weather windows and sort of picking those days when we can get out. You might have to take the day off work to get out, but it's well worth it because you know what it's like. The window, the weekend will come up and you'll be stuck with rain and wind and stuck indoors most weekends at the moment.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I guess trip planning is becoming so more important with this weather pattern, which I believe is going to change soon. But there are windows of opportunity. They may be short. They may only be 4 or 5 hours. And we were just talking on when you came over in the car about how important it is to have the wind and the tide going the same way.
Yeah, definitely.
Like places like Jellicoe, Craddock Channel, those places, wind going, especially the northwest, as we've been having on incoming tide, it's like pretty flattens everything right down. But as soon as that tide changes, it whips up. So
Yeah.
if you go out in those periods where the wind's going with the tide, you're going to have a much better day than not planning your trip.
Definitely.
So that's really important.
So always check the tides, check your wind, and make sure they're flowing together if you're going to go.
Yeah.
And then sort of if you do run into a worst case scenario, what we've always done is wait until slack tide and then we'll head home just around the area of slack tide when it all sort of tends to settle down and slacken off a bit, and that's the where the window to get back sort of thing if it does ever kick up.
Right.
But you know, I was out the other day and the fishing was absolutely great, eh?
It's crazy, mate.
It was great, mate. Like, and the snapper were coming up like 20 metres off the bottom, man.
Yeah.
In different places.
Yeah.
Out further as well, but that water temperature is sort of is a bit colder and closer, and out further it's about a degree warmer out sort of towards Horn Rock, Little Barrier way.
Right.
Around 18 degrees, 17.9.
Yes.
So the snapper
It's still pretty warm, eh?
Snapper are very comfortable in that.
Yeah.
Very comfortable.
Yeah.
And we even got skippies the other day too.
I saw the skippies roll around Little Barrier the other
What did
day.
we get a skippy on? I think we got a skippy on a fish
I
finger.
saw that.
Yeah, an
Yes,
orange
the
one.
skippy's still around, you know. It's a bit of a weird season, eh? And that's kind of now we start thinking about, you know, we used to have like work-up seasons, the end of the season, the start of the season.
Yeah.
It used to be traditionally we'd call late August, September, the start of the work-up season. Then it became July.
Yeah.
You know, we were going out to areas between Little Barrier and Great Barrier. And then
70
came earlier, and
metres.
now we started going further out north of Little Barrier to find the action. And so now I'm starting to think, is it that our boats are a bit better now, or we're travelling further, that these workups actually start, you know, now out further in that 70 metre zone, and we just haven't been intercepting them until they come a bit further in. So what are your thoughts on that, Mikey, about where is this bait's, where is it now, and where does it kind of end up over the next few months?
Just from my gut feeling and what I'm seeing out there, like the bait, the fish on their way out. So you're going to go to areas where you're going to sort of get to those areas where 17.5, 18 degrees, and you'll start to find bait. I think the warmer you get to 18 degrees. The closer you get to 18 degrees, the more bait you'll find, I think. But yeah, we're fishing in sort of 40 to 50 metres. The other day, I found more sign and more snapper sign at 60 metres, and it was warmer at 60 metres.
Right.
So it was sort of going into that pattern, what we used to go into over winter. The fish would go out, the bait would go out, and we'd get these winter workups between Little Barrier and Great Barrier. The previous years it sort of changes around, but what I can see at the moment is that a lot of that action there is sort of around sort of 50, 60 metres.
Yeah. I guess in my mind, what I'm thinking is, do those snapper, say they move on out, but is that as far as they go? Do they just go to that 70 metre zone behind Little Barrier, and that's as far as they go, and then they start to come back in again? Because you can pretty much, that area there, it's just about always fish there, eh? Always school snapper around there somewhere. So is that as far as they go, mate? I guess that's the question to ask, eh?
Who knows,
Who knows, eh, mate?
It's best probably to tag them and then you can find out if they ever get caught again.
No, I was, when I was, not far from you over at Little Barrier the other day, the amount of bait I saw was just ridiculous, mate.
Yeah, that's where I did find workups. And so like one day I was fishing out the Mokes. We had a Mokes trip, so I was heading out towards Simpson's Rock, and I seen workups to the just to the right of me there, and I said, oh guys, we'll go for a drop, eh? Go have a little drop. Since it's here, there, they're going in, we might as well go have a look. So we went and had a look, had a drop, and got plenty of nice snapper, and the snapper were in pretty good condition.
I've noticed that.
They weren't skinny as what they have been. The fillet seemed pretty good too, and pretty good nick. And they were spewing up pilchards, so there was kahawai there was dolphins there. We didn't get any kingfish, but we didn't really fish the area too long because the snapper fishing was so good that we had enough.
It's not really kingfish time now, is it?
That was it. Well, we used to find kingfish holding out deeper in that 70 metre mark over winter, and that's where we would get sort of the kingfish workups start to fire. But in previous years we haven't really needed to go as far because it hasn't been as cold in the previous years.
True.
But the weather's been real tricky, to get out there. I used to be in a rhythm of sort of 3 days, 4 days in a row. And at the moment it's sort of broken up with the weather. So pray for some good weather, eh?
Yeah. And about the snapper stocks as well, I was thinking, last night or the other day, just about how many snapper there are. There's been heaps of small ones around.
There's no problem.
But it's like a plague of, a plague of snapper out there at the moment. On about that 30 to 35 centimetre, there's so many of them. I'm thinking in 2 or 3 years, when those fish grow up, it's going to be like one of the best seasons ever. And then I'm thinking, why has that happened? And the only thing I can put it down to why there's so many snapper out there is COVID, and then this whole kind of 9 months of bad weather we've had, which has let these fish breed more through the breeding, because we had a lockdown during the spawning season a couple of years ago, didn't we? And then I was talking to, remember we were talking to that guy who had a mussel farm or something up in the Bay of Islands on the way home the other day? And he said there are actually plague proportions of snapper in the bay, and they're starting to eat all the mussels off the mussel farms.
That's amazing, eh?
It's becoming a problem that there's too many snapper around, which is, I'd like to hear everyone else's opinions. We're going to have the guy Manny on in a couple of weeks. He's got quite a few good thoughts about the snapper stocks at the moment.
Definitely. It's the food source that holds the snapper there. That's why snapper are in the area, because there's a food source there.
Yeah, exactly.
That's why, and the temperature. So the food source and the temperature is what holds them there.
Right. Yeah. And I've always said, don't try and find snapper, find bait. Look, bait. It's a lot easier to find bait than snapper. Because bait comes up the top, the birds follow them around, the dolls follow around, the whales follow them around. And as soon as you find some bait, I've slowed down on chasing to be in that intense workup situation a bit lately, Mikey. Because if you just find a bit of bait, even just 1 or 2 gannets just flopping in,
that did it for me the other day.
That can be like just a signpost saying there's a huge school of snapper underneath this, and you don't need to burn around so much. Trying to be in the intense workers. Like I've been in areas before, and I'm catching so many fish, and there's boats just picking up and trying to get to the next workup. But if they just stop and continue drifting that area, I think you do just as well. And sometimes the fish are bigger as well.
Yeah, what happened the other day, so I told you about the little barrier workup, so then
Yeah.
I had a trip the next day,
Yeah.
but it was up a bit more.
Right.
But on the way home, I did see workups in the area, so I marked that area. It was only like 2 gannets, 3 gannets diving. Just marked that area, and then the next day I went back to that area, and I couldn't see any gannets diving, but there was bait there on the sounder, and then all of a sudden we dropped down. It was it was a little bit the wind started to pick up in those little conditions, and the gannets struggled to find their food, their bait with the white caps. There's little
Right.
white caps, and it's a
Yeah.
bit too choppy.
Yeah.
They really do struggle to find their food. So anyway, we dropped down there, and it was bang, 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 and it started off small, but they just got bigger and bigger and bigger and better and better and better.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
we pretty much did one drift, and we had our limit
Yeah.
without any gannets diving in, but
Yeah.
we were just fishing that area with
Yeah.
bait in that area.
Yeah.
Is what you're saying.
Yeah.
And then another day after that, it was a nicer day, so we went a bit further. And then on the way sort of towards sort of Horn Rock, I seen 2 gannets dive. Boom, boom.
Right.
Out of gear.
Yep.
All right, guys, stop here, have a drift.
Yep.
Drop down, bang, 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 bang.
Yeah. Yeah.
Real quickly into
Yeah.
nice, good size snapper too.
Oh, yeah.
It didn't really start off with smaller stuff. It started into good
Good stuff.
size, sort of 50 centimetre onward snapper up to sort of 60 centimetres, 65
Yeah.
centimetres. So there's plenty of snapper out there, man. There's plenty of snapper out there,
So
bro.
many snapper, man.
Yeah, man.
And so as far as lures goes, I know you guys are running ocean angler lures on the boat, so that's great.
Yeah.
And
what I
you're running,
use, bro.
you're running Okuma rods and reels.
Yep.
That's right, eh?
Yeah, we use Akuma Komodos.
Oh, yeah.
They're my go-to reel for what I do as a charter fisherman, and as the business, it just works out perfectly.
Right.
Less tangles, less cost in a way, so you don't waste as much braid from overspooling. So it's a bait feeder. That's what a Komodo is. It's a
Right.
it's a bait caster. Sorry. So yeah, it's got a guide, so you don't get tangles, and it's,
Well,
it's
right.
perfect,
That's pretty good, eh?
perfect for the kids, perfect for
Yeah.
beginners, and perfect for the experienced guys
Yeah.
too. And then like we use Kmart rods, and man, they're great rods, but you know, there's you need a bit of bend in a rod to do this sort of fishing. You can't
do.
have
You need
a
a bendy
stiff rod.
No.
And that's why we use these rods, and very affordable as well.
Right.
So the most expensive part of it is the Komodo reel,
Right.
but it's going to last a long time.
Oh,
And
that's good to know, mate.
yeah,
Yeah.
and it's awesome. Like I take Simon's kids fishing, and they're sort of a very young age, sort of 5 and upwards, and you know, we go out and catch. They go out and catch 60 centimetre snappers, and they're pulling them up. And normally, back in the day, you'd have to help the
Right.
person and
that's
help
good.
and
Some-
wind
quite a nice low
down.
gearing
And
for them.
in this thing, they just wind away. I hold the
Wow.
rod, and they just keep
Yeah,
winding.
yeah.
And it's sometimes a better way of pulling the fish up too, because you always got that hook stuck in them for this sort of fishing with the lure fishing and the lures that we use, as they've got small barbs. So you got to keep that pressure on the whole time, and if
Yeah,
you're doing
you do,
this,
you do.
you do lose a lot more fish.
Yeah, yeah. So no, what Mike's saying, no pumping and winding so much. A little bit,
Yeah, a
but
little
not
bit.
like pumping and winding to get these fish up. You don't need to do it
Yeah,
anymore.
yeah.
And I guess
a little bit, tiny.
Yeah, being chartered guys, you know, I did chartering for years. It's all about, for us, it's about durability, eh? Because if something breaks on the boat when you're fishing, it's a pain in the ass. You have to stop netting the fish. You have to go and fix it. So,
yeah,
and that's how all my lures came about, mate. Because I just got sick of lures that broke. And I
Yeah.
know you have a few favourites now, eh?
Yeah, man.
You got a few favourites,
Yep.
and you know, I know that you go on about the jelly babies quite a lot. And
Yeah.
tell us about your experience with jelly babies, mate. And
Jelly
and
babies.
how you're using them.
Well, first of all, they're scented. That's why I like them.
Yep.
And then also you're
I'll
going
hold
to...
it up so you can talk there.
And then also you're going to get a bigger fish. You get bigger fish with them, so sometimes you want to target those bigger fish. I'll put these on.
Yep.
I'll put these on with the G-bombers.
Yep.
I'll put them on a 200 gram orange slider. The orange slider's been working perfect for us right now.
Yep.
As sort of a charter guys, we're out fishing sort of 50 meters. We
Yep.
need to get to the bottom, as you know. Straight up and down, it's best strike range. When that lure gets out the back of the boat, too much angle, it doesn't work as good. So
Right.
that's why we use
Heavy
gear. And then also with these ones, we don't need to go as heavy with these ones.
Let me hold them up for you. That's because that's our G-bomb, guys.
Yeah.
And yeah,
120?
that's I think that's either a 100 or a 120. Yeah. And so you don't need as much weight because of the shape, right?
So like a 200 gram slider, that will beat a 200 gram slider to the bottom.
Right, and I think it's either a 120 or a 100. Yeah.
That's the design of
And
it.
that's the shape of it. And if you're using the G-bomb tails, which I tend to use a lot, there's a lot less drag in the water to pull these down with the G-bomb, so they get down quicker. And I don't know, let me show you a little trick with these G-bombs, guys, with the tails, and that is sometimes in the factory they're not putting this cap down hard enough. So what I do is I'm tying a little half hitch around here, and then I'm making sure this cap is down properly. So if it's not properly, the tail comes off quite easily. So just check that before you drop it down. Tie a little half hitch, jam it down. And the reason I think this tail works so good is because it actually swims, Mikey. Mm-hmm. And that's why people say, put more tails on it. But if you do, it interrupts that swimming action. Mm. So that's why, I've done it that way. Mm. And I'm having some great success with these lures when, especially when the fishing's a bit tougher.
Yeah, that's what I find
with that tail. So I'll go from that. Yeah. So what I do is I'll go from that. Then if it turns into a real manic bite and we catch too many small ones, I'll switch over to the big jelly babies.
Also the other way around. So if you start off with those and you're not getting bites, go to the lighter ones and give them a bit of a snack instead of a meal.
Yeah. Yeah, because it's, I don't know how you find it, but when I'm out there fishing, you may start off slow, and it's up and down, all the commotion under the boat. The snappers start following the boat, and then they start to get bigger and bigger and bigger.
They do. That's what happened the other day.
Yeah.
And it proved my point. I said, they'll get bigger, just be patient, they'll get bigger. One drift, they just got bigger and bigger and bigger. You know? So, And
the other trick to that is, mate, which I discovered the other day. Well, I've known it for a while, but if everyone catches a fish and you all pull your lures out of the water and muck around taking the fish off, and no one's got a lure in the water, it's finished. Yeah, because the snappers hone in on your lures and they follow them along, but as soon as there's none there, they get lost and they don't know where to go next. So they can't see the boat. Their reference is the lures. So make sure if you all hook up at the same time, you kind of stagger it a bit. So there's always something going down. There's always something down there, either a hooked fish or a lure. There's always something there. Otherwise, they'll lose where you are, and that could be the end of your bite, and you have to go and find them all over again.
Yeah. So what I do always have an extra couple of spare rods.
Yeah.
They might.
Right. That's a good idea.
And then always straight away, I'll get their rod, grab their rod, and then I'll give them another rod, drop it down straight away.
Right.
Get them down straight away. As soon as they stop dropping, exactly what you say, they come off the bite, they stop following the lures, they stop trailing those lures.
They get lost, right?
They get lost. They're picking it up. There's vibrations that they pick up on, and that's what they're feeling as well, and sometimes they're coming up through the water column and even hitting it on the way down once they do start trailing the boat.
There's quite a good question from excuse me, quite a good question here from Verdon, our mate.
Oh, Verdon, how are you, man?
Are you boys seeing a lot of milky flesh like I am out in the middle Gulf area? Excuse me.
Our fish has been pretty good lately, man. I've been fishing sort of west of Anchorite, around that area, and I've been getting workups there too, and the fish have been in pretty good nick, compared to previous sort of months, I think. I think also as it comes in now, it is a little bit colder, but it's still quite warm, and it will trigger the fish to feed a bit more.
So Verdon, I've in the shallows when I'm doing my microbaiting, getting like hardly any of them. And then the other day, I've been doing a bit of deep water fishing the past few weeks, and I get them filleted, the Ika Kai guys, And I always ask them,
Kayaka.
I always
Kayaka.
ask them how many milky have you
your
had
fish
today, and they
filleted
said it's
there.
reduced quite a lot. And my theory, it's just my theory, don't get shot down too much, is it was because there's too many snapper.
Yeah.
There's not enough food, there's too many snapper.
Yeah.
There's so many snapper, it's ridiculous. As you know, mate, it's just, out in that 50 metres, you can pretty much stop anywhere. Even if there's nothing on the sign and drop something down and you'll catch a tiddler.
Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah.
they're just everywhere, which, I'm thinking we've had a bit of a tough time with the bad weather and COVID and lockdowns, but now the weather patterns are changing. We have more westerlies and more settled weather, and these fish, these little fish, these 30 centimetres, 2 or 3 years, mate, if they're evolved into 5-6 pounders, we're going to be in for some seriously good snapper fishing, eh?
Like the fishing inshore is still very, very good. And
inshore's good
it's
too.
still good, man. It's still good. We've got a boat, Koru, as well, that takes up to sort of 40 people or so, and they do bottom bashing with bait, anchor, burley, and they've still been doing very, very well, in the Gulf.
Yeah.
So
There's plenty of fish, man.
even if it is a little bit choppy or a little bit windy, there's heaps of options. You've got heaps of little white bait around as well that are starting to come into that area with kawai, and then you've got trevally as well, and then also the snapper. The snapper is still in, man.
Yeah, oh, definitely. Well, I've taken you microbaiting a couple of times now, eh?
Yeah, we had a good day the other
Yeah,
day.
we had a good day.
Yeah.
And, we're just talking about, it's not, when we have our days off, it's not about how big the fish are, how many you've caught. We just like to go and have a bit of fun.
Yeah,
So we do our inshore microbaiting, have a bit of lunch, might even have a beer, and just have heaps of fun inshore. And we're just off Snell's Beach. It was calm as, it was really windy out further, but we had a great day.
Oh, it's beautiful in
Great
there.
day.
It's calm as,
So guys,
No,
you
I loved
don't
it.
need look
Didn't
for
get
these.
wet.
You don't need to go miles out with microbaiting. You can stay in close and still have a great day. Especially if it's a westerly, northwesterly. There's heaps of places to go for shelter.
Yeah, definitely. And if you don't have a micro bait set up, or you don't have the micro baits, maybe the smallest soft baits, or the smallest thing you could find, really.
Or fleas, little fleas. They still work inshore.
What were you doing the other day? You were using a bigger soft bait to try and get through the kawai, because there's so many kawai.
Yeah.
So you're trying to use a bigger soft bait, and then you did get snapper, didn't you?
I went up to a 3-inch minnow on a 1/4 ounce jig head just to get through those kawai a bit more, because there was a lot of kawai around.
Spewing it up too.
And snap, and even Rangi Channel and all those areas I'm still going out there and marking bait and fish and birds, and it's just like, so you kind of got the best of both worlds right now. You can go out into the deep and chase the pillies out there. We can come inshore and chase around the anchovies. And notice I'm not talking about snapper, kingfish. I'm talking about bait fish, pillies offshore, anchovies inshore. Find those, and you'll find the fish. Stay next to the bait. Don't leave the bait. Stay next to the bait, and sooner or later, the snapper will be there, eh? Because if you think of it this way, you've got a much better chance of catching fish around bait and staying with them, rather than gallivanting all over the ocean trying to find, an amazing workup. You don't have to find amazing workups to make lures work.
And you can't force a workup too.
Yeah.
You could be in the area, but it won't happen.
Yeah.
And you've only got so many hours, and you've got to be back to pick up the kids.
So Mikey knows all about this
or
kind of
whatever.
So sometimes you best just stop and have a drift. And if you haven't tried these G-bombs out, I highly recommend you give them a go, because I reckon they work better than sliders. You can go from that tail, and as the charter boys say, switch to a jelly baby when you're on a hot bite, and that's how you're picking up the bigger fish. And I'm all for, I do this as well. You don't catch as many, but the quality of your fish goes up.
Yeah, I just, and the colours, with the colours and the sizes, I just chop and change until I find what works. I've got normally 6 people dropping down or more, so I just tend to see what's working the most and what's productive, and then I'll go, hey bro, I'll chop it off and I'll change it, and I'll put another one on and to match that one, and then they're into it.
No, I'm really loving these new lures, eh? I really do like them. They're just, I reckon they're a bit of a step up from I know it's a bit of a saying, got the latest technology, and step up in technology, all that stuff, but I reckon these are a little bit better than sliders, and fish fingers still have the place in my heart for around Kawai schools, and if you need, and it's a bit rougher and you need to get down faster.
Yeah,
I'm
they get
using-
down quick too.
Yeah. What colours do you use?
Well,
for fishing?
orange is my favourite.
Yeah.
It did clean up the other day, and then in previous times, you know, the pink and the
That's
silver.
still my favourite.
The pink and the silver. The
You can
kingfish.
tell, look at the state of that one,
The
mate.
kingfish love the pink and the silver.
Look at the state of that, boys.
You got to chop and change and find what
Yeah.
works. So when I go
It's just been smashed,
when I go
mate.
stock up the tackle boxes, I don't just buy one colour. I buy different colours, and that's what you guys should be doing. You should be buying different sizes and different colours, and then you can find out what works. And then you got the perfect size and the perfect colour for that day, what's working on that day.
Yeah.
You just can't go out there with one fish finger and drop it down and go, oh, that one, don't get those.
Yeah.
Get them, but get more of them in different colours, different
different
sizes.
colours.
And a variety. You got to find the key, what unlocks the door,
There you go.
and once you unlock the door, you just keep unlocking the door.
Yeah, there's another. Oh, mate, Verdon's back here. Bit of banter here. Stop it. Nothing better than my pink slider.
Oh, he loves his pink
I know
slider.
you're into pink sliders, Verdon.
That's working good too at the
But
moment.
working good.
Yeah.
But you good. It's good to have maybe one more lure, Verdon. So if that's not working,
Mix them up.
how do you know that another lure it might work a bit better or catch
Yeah.
bigger fish if you don't try, mate?
Yeah.
So I reckon, Verdon, we can convince you to maybe. I reckon maybe your second lure could be an orange G-bomb
What about-
100-gram one.
With a pink skirt
Yeah, you could put a pink skirt on it.
or a pink jelly
Or
baby.
a pink jelly baby. There you go, Verdon.
Try that.
We can get you up to 2 lures, mate.
Yeah.
That'd be quite good, eh?
Yeah.
Engine Park, nice haircut, Captain. Is that you, Mikey? He's talking. G'day, Engine, mate. How you going?
Hey, Engine.
I'm
how's
loving
it?
your content on your reels, mate. Very funny. Gives me a bit of a smile.
Yeah, no, I was
Yeah,
saying that. I was
bloody
getting
good.
cheeky doing the other day.
Yeah, very, very good, Engine.
Yeah,
You're
good on
doing
you,
some
mate.
good stuff there, buddy. And if anyone's got any questions, so we're going to wrap it up soon because we got, it's chips and beer day after all.
Yeah, lunchtime.
Lunchtime, chips and beer day. And
I'm
any
out.
questions for Mike Trail? And how do people,
Oh.
if people want to get hold of you and they want to come out with you, what do they do, mate?
They book us.
book
so
us?
you can, I reckon, man, like there are days and I wouldn't waste your time. I wouldn't wait for a sunny day. I'd book now. Go online to ultimatecharters.co.nz. Our prices are there. You can book there as well. And all of our options are there, and it gives you a good view of what we do. Also photos of fish and all that, etc. Facebook, you can also follow our Facebook and see what's going on at the time.
Yeah.
Or if you want to just call up and you're not into the internet, just call 0800 262 844. Okay, 0800 262 844, and we'd love to take you guys out and show you how to work these lures, where we go, how we hunt the fish, how we use our sounder. It's coming into workup season now. We're getting dolphins, workup starting to fire with gannets raining in, and the intensity should just get better, I think, Paul.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, for sure, mate. And there's a bit of a question here from Nigel. He wants to know if I invite you around to have a spa pool ever.
Oh, yeah. I'm always too busy, mate. I'm just so busy.
His nickname's Magic Mike, eh?
Oh,
and he's got that name for a reason.
I'm the
not,
worst dancer.
I'm not sure if it's for fishing. Is it Magic Mike?
Yeah.
Is it for fishing?
Andrew named me that. Yeah.
Who did?
Andrew.
Oh, did he?
Andrew Grant, yeah.
Magic Mike.
And it just flowed on from ever since. I didn't name myself that. He just called me Magic Mike, and that's just went on from there. So
All right.
just stuck with it.
Oh, well, thanks for coming along today, mate. If there's no more questions, we're going to sign off. And I don't think there's any questions there. What's your go-to weather app? My go-to weather app, Mr. Verdon, is Swell Map. Then I go to the maps. Then I'll compare that with Coast Guard on the weather forecast. You can drop a pin onto a map and I'll compare it with that. The most important thing for me is wind and tide going the same way, and moon phase is important to me as well.
Exactly.
And that's how I do it, mate.
Pick your weather windows, you
Yeah,
know.
I use windy a bit as well.
I use windy a lot.
But I do like,
Mix it up.
Yeah,
Look
I
at
do.
others.
I really
Coast
do
Guard
like
app.
with the Swell Map with the maps. I think that's my favourite. That's pretty bloody good.
That's what I do. Swell Map and windy are my two go-tos.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Double check with the Coast Guard.
and double check with the Coast Guard, and just then you start to get a reading, and and then go from there.
So learn
Check
the app,
tides.
learn the weather yourself, guys, because we can't give weather advice. We can't do that.
Yeah.
And so learn the weather yourself. learn rules of the road out there too. That would be good. You know, some of you guys don't know the rules of the road on the ocean. That can be frustrating. But anyway, thanks to Magic Mike, and you know how to get hold of him if you want to go for a charter with them.
Come out.
I highly recommend it. That's who I go with.
Yeah, man.
And
about time again.
I hope everyone has a great weekend. And I think there might be a little weather window tomorrow, maybe, I think, for the fishing. And on Sunday there might be one.
Sunday morning, early Sunday morning.
Yeah. So get out there, and have some fun, and make some fish fingers.
Into it.
Cheers, brother.
Cheers, bro. Thank you.
See you, everyone.
See ya.